You were denied, but wolves don't beg for thrones. They told you no. They closed the door before you even knocked. They laughed behind your back. They crowned others while you stood in the shadows, forgotten. But you didn't break. You didn't kneel, because real wolves, they don't beg for thrones. They take the wilderness. They rule in silence. And when the time is right, they don't ask. They rise. You were denied. Not because you weren't enough, but because the world wasn't ready. Not because you lacked something, but because your light would burn their fragile illusions. From the very beginning, you've known what it feels like to be shut out, passed over, judged, underestimated. You tried to speak, but your voice was drowned in noise. You tried to show your worth, but the crowd turned its back. You built, but no one noticed. And slowly, painfully, you realized something. No one was coming to crown you. The throne you dream of? It doesn't have your name written on it yet. And the world? It doesn't hand out crowns to wolves. You see, some are born to inherit. Born to smile, charm, play the game, and win the favor of kings. They learn how to bow, how to kneel, how to blend in. But not you. You weren't made to kneel. You were forged to fight, to rise, not by permission, but by purpose. They looked at you and saw wildness. Too raw, too intense, too untamed to polish, so they denied you, over and over again. But wolves? Wolves do not beg. They sharpen their teeth. They roam the dark. They learn the forest, the mountain, the wind. They don't wait to be seen. They become the thing that cannot be ignored. The world thinks the throne sits in marble halls. But you've learned better. The wild is where you were crowned. The nights you bled in silence. The mornings you rose with no applause. The days you moved forward when everything screamed to give up. That was your coronation. No golden robe, no shining medal. Just grit and scars. And the fire inside that wouldn't die. The real throne isn't made of gold. It's made of moments, of resilience, of rage turned into resolve, of pain molded into power. And you've earned every inch of it. Wolves don't rule because they're loud. They rule because they listen, because they watch, because they survive what others couldn't. They don't live in castles. They thrive in chaos. They find comfort in solitude. They carry their crown in their gaze, not on their head. You were denied because you don't fit their story, because your strength can't be caged, because your roar would silence their lies. You weren't meant to be given a kingdom. You were meant to build one. And you don't need their throne, because you are the storm that knocks thrones down. Every no they gave you was fuel. Every time they said you weren't good enough, you sharpened your claws. Every time they laughed, you listened to the silence beneath it. You studied. You trained. You endured. They thought they were rejecting you, but they were refining you. And now? Now you don't need their applause. You don't need their validation. Because you finally see it. They were afraid. Afraid of what you'd become. If they didn't keep you out. They took the easy path. They smiled for cameras. They begged for likes, for followers, for short-term crowns made of cardboard and glitter. But you chose the cave, the fire, the transformation. Because wolves don't need to be seen to be dangerous. They don't need a stage to become legends. You trained in silence, you suffered in private. You buried your old self under discipline and rose a little stronger every day. And they performed. But the curtain always falls on performers. And when it does, all that's left is who you truly are underneath the spotlight. You were never pretending. You were preparing. There will come a day. A day they'll say they always believed in you. A day they'll say, we knew you had something special. But don't let the applause confuse you. You didn't rise for them. You rose in spite of them. You didn't fight your demons to impress the crowd. You fought because you had no other choice. You were denied. They laughed. They said you were too intense, too quiet, too weird, too much. But now, that too much is exactly what the world will pay attention to. Because while they were building resumes, you were building yourself. The wolves who beg for thrones are not wolves. They are sheep in fur, pretending to be strong. But you? You didn't pretend. You broke. You bled. You healed. You came back. You stood in front of locked doors and said, "Fine, I'll build my own kingdom." You walked into rooms full of crowned liars and never once bowed. That's what it means to be unstoppable. Not gifted, not lucky, but unwilling to kneel. You earned your scars. You earned your solitude. You earned your power. And now the world sees it. They just can't look away anymore. You carry silence like a weapon. You carry failure like fuel. You carry your old name like a ghost and your new self like a storm. They gave you nothing, so you became everything. The throne they denied you? It doesn't matter anymore, because you realize now you are not made for thrones. You are made to build empires, to leave something behind that no crown could ever offer: legacy. You weren't born to rule over people. You were born to awaken the wolves inside others. So let them deny you again. Let them shut every door. Let them laugh. Because you already know the truth. Wolves don't beg. Wolves don't wait. Wolves don't kneel. They rise. They endure. They become. And when the time comes, they don't ask for thrones. They burn down kingdoms that forgot who the wild truly belongs to. So walk forward with your silence, with your scars, with your teeth bared. You are not broken. You are becoming. And no one, no throne, no rejection can stop that now. You were denied, but you didn't stop. You were denied, but you didn't shrink. Because wolves don't beg for thrones. They build from ash, they lead from scars. And they rise when everyone else stays on their knees.